So we're going to look at Module C, Text and Society, and Elective 2, Into the World. This is for HSC Standard English, and it's just an introduction to the module. So this is the description from the syllabus. I've highlighted some of the more important words, so take some time now to pause the video, read through it, and make sure that you're focusing on those specific words that I've highlighted, because they're the ones that tell you what you need to do and what we're really looking at in this module. And this is for both electives, what we're looking at. So this is the description for this particular elective, Into the World. So we're looking at elective 2. This one we'll go through in a bit more detail. So it says, in this elective, students explore a variety of texts that deal with aspects of growing up or transition into new phases of life and a broader world. People encounter different experiences and respond to them individually. These personal experiences may result in growth, change, or other consequences. Students respond to and compose a range of texts that illustrate different pathways into new experiences. They examine the features of text that shape our knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs about individuals venturing into new experiences. So what we're looking at here is this understanding of moving into the world. So it's suggesting that transition that we have to go through, growing up. So what we've been looking at earlier in terms of Bildungsroman will help us here. This is again what we're looking at. We're looking at how we move through and into different phases of life, and also into the broader world. So into new societies, into new experiences, and new understandings of the world as well. So it's about people encountering different experiences and also using different pathways to get to those new experiences and to those new phases of life. We're really looking at how those experiences affect the individual as well, or affect whoever is moving into the world, because though it can be an individual, it can also be a society in general that might be moving into the world a little bit more. So let's look at this module a little bit more closely. So we need to remember, what text do we study? We know that we need to have a core text, and this module needs to have related material as well. So the core text that we're going to be studying is the film Billy Elliot, and you need to have at least 2 pieces of related material. 3 would be ideal. Because your core text is a film, it's a good idea to have something a bit different, but some of those shorter texts you might find easier to really get that depth of analysis in them and be able to present that in that 40-minute essay when you've got quite a large text like a film. So what does it mean to move into the world? What are we talking about? So moving is suggesting that transition. Okay, we're going from one place to another place. So that movement from one to the next. We're growing up. We're moving through the phases of life, getting older, learning things, understanding the world in new and different ways, learning from other people who might be older than us as well. And you need to understand that to move into a new phase, you have to leave those old ones behind, which can be the most difficult part, as I'm sure as HSC students you're all noticing now, just how hard it is to think about the fact that you might have to be moving away from that experience and that phase of high school. So we're looking at how experiences and people as well act as the catalyst. So that means the cause, the thing that causes something, for change, for growth, reflection, transformation. How do they affect us when we're moving into the world? And we're going to explore the different pathways that people can use to enter those phases and the different ways that it affects them. So there are many ways, for instance, to get your first job, or there's many ways to move into that phase of your life and many pathways to get there. So we really study how those are presented through text. So we're looking at who's involved. Okay, who's involved in when we're looking at moving into the world? Because it is a thing about humans, something that humans do. So the individual, of course, is involved. So the individual, the group, or the society who is moving, who is doing the transitioning. We're also looking at people like mentors or role models or catalysts. So people who either cause us to make that transition or people who help us with it. So a mentor can be, an older person that you look up to and who helps you out and helps you to make that transition. A parent could be an example of a type of mentor if you're lucky enough to have a great one. a teacher, and we're all great, so we're excellent mentors. And we're also very good role models and excellent catalysts to force you to move into the world. And then we're also looking at the barriers. Barriers could be people, they could be events, they could be any number of things. Barriers to you making that transition. It could be yourself, your own self-doubt as a barrier to that transition as well. So this is a kind of flowchart of what we're looking at. So we're looking at who moves, who does the moving into the world, what are they moving towards, and what are they moving away from, because you have to have one to have the other. Who or what helps them or hinders them? So that's where we're looking at the mentors, the catalysts, the role models, and then also the barriers. And then what's the result? So once this person's doing the growing on this lovely reflective journey through life. Gosh, that sounds horrible. What's the result of it? How do they grow and change and learn about themselves? And it's not just how do they do that once they get to the end of moved into that world. It's about moving into the world. So what do we look at? We look at how techniques are used to show Bildungsroman, the growing up, different stages of life, moving through those phases. And Bildungsroman is about reflecting as well on how we're moving through our life. We're also looking at lifestyle. So how do people live? How does their culture and beliefs and ideologies affect the way they move into the world and the way that they expect other people to move into the world as well? We're looking at the causes and effects of transitions. So what are those catalysts and how do they affect our broader lives and the lives of other people around us as well? And what impacts those transitions? The mentors and the barriers like we were talking about before. Those are the things that techniques are going to present to us. This is some key vocabulary. It might be a good idea right now to take a screenshot if you're really savvy, or just write them down. Any that you don't know, look them up. These are really good words to use when you are writing your responses in the HSC, but also just getting your head around what you are really looking at. So the first column is about the whole idea of movement into the world, the growth and the change. The second column is about those barriers. And the third column is more about the effect of mentors and moving into the world.